Hello and welcome to our business interview. Our featured interview today is with real estate developer Frank Ball, who gained his success over years of struggle. During the early years, he quickly gained a great reputation as a developer with a key eye on detail and getting things done on time. Although he had a tough time during the real estate bust in 2008, Frank rebounded and is on his way back to the top again. His entrepreneurial spirit is a true inspiration to anyone who is looking to follow in his tracks. And to discuss his future plans, Frank Ball joins me now. Welcome to the program.
Hi, how are you? I'm glad to be here.
Maybe we can go back in time and just tell us how you got your start in business.
Well, early on, I was always hands-on, and I was a carpenter as a very young age. So basically at the age of 15 or so, I picked up the tool belt and wanted to learn how to build. And then from there on, it went, if you're on the job site, seeing the superintendents and then the owners of the properties and companies, and kind of wanted to be in the AC truck. And then from the AC truck, it was, hey, how do you develop, and so on and so forth. So as a young boy, I always had the ambition of and big dreams of doing something big. So I pretty much started hands-on. I didn't, I wasn't educated, didn't go through college. I was fortunate enough to have a man bring me in at 21 years old and teach me the ropes of big finance on high-rise development. And he hired me as a developer, and I worked for him and trained under him for roughly 3 years. And even after that, let's take that back. I think it was roughly I worked with him hands-on for about a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And then a year and a half after that, he trained me for my own business, and he would coach me through my own business to get it started. And I would call and ask questions, and what do we do here and there, and he would help me. So that was pretty much how I got my start. It was through a man named Edward Heath.
Okay, so you are located in Houston, Texas. So how has everything progressed with your developments over the past number of years?
Well, I was born and raised in Dickinson. So I did a lot of little stuff in Dickinson. And then as I grew up, I actually, whenever I was framing all around the Galveston County area. And then I went to Austin to do a little job. And then from there on, I went to Dallas. And in Dallas, ironically, when I was recruited by Edward Heath, my job was in Houston. So I would fly from Houston to Dallas every 3 or 4 days on the red eye from Southwest, and I lived in Dallas. So I worked at the corporate office, but I was the developer of his building in Houston. And so that is kind of where Houston came into play. And so, once I left Houston, I went to Dallas thinking, now I'm going to be able to get trained to do stuff. And then I ended up right back in Houston, which was fantastic because I knew the area and I knew the market, and I knew what we were, our plans were in the Houston market. So I ended up living in Dallas and finishing that project. And then I opened my company in Dallas and built in Dallas for many, many years. And then relocated to Houston around 2010 and just boots on the ground started developing and brokering, different properties in Houston, and from single family, multifamily to cash flow producing properties, a lot of distressed properties. I brokered a lot of those. Mm-hmm. And I just liked the market in Houston. There was not only being from here and being familiar with the area, the market in Houston's always been really strong. Now, It's also strong in Dallas, and in Texas. Texas has a great economy. We always really have. I mean, even during the dips, we were kind of the last to fall. Houston has always been dear to my heart. So that's kind of why I've landed in Houston. I'm in Kemah, Texas now building, which is in Galveston County, about 30 minutes from Houston. And I'm building cluster units and housing, multifamily housing in an area that's primarily single family. And I'm doing that right here a few blocks from the Galveston Bay. And it's working phenomenal. This is my 4th project here, cluster units, and we're about to start another one. So these are 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom A-class properties, typically 4plexes and below. And we do that primarily for the mortgage ability for them to be able to finance.
Okay. There's been good construction and bad construction, this kind of thing. Frank, how do you see the construction practices in our modern times today?
Andy, I'm a stickler for construction because that's where I started at, and it's always dear to my heart. And I look at construction more than anybody else, probably as a developer. And because I was a framer, I know how to be efficient with construction all the way through. Mm-hmm. And that means as far as trash, just a clean job site, not throwing away things that are over 16 inches in length, any kind of lumber, because it's a waste. You're going to need those. Later on, you're going to need them. This is the very beginning. Okay, a messy job site, a job site that doesn't have, the proper, so there's two types of trash on the job. There's the construction trash, the lumber, as I mentioned, with, cutting things over 16 inches and throwing that away. You're going to need that later on through the job. Don't throw it away. Mm-hmm. Stack it in a pile. Then there's the taco wrappers and the trash, the Coke bottles and things like that. Two separate types of trash. And so there's so many job sites, and I see it all the time with single family development, where they don't have the proper just trash bag containers. And, we have little cans, and I have them every 20 feet. They don't throw their taco wrappers anywhere. They don't have to bring them to the dumpster. We just keep a clean job site. That's number one. Number two is timing. I have never in my life seen houses that have taken, 6 and 8 months to build, and they're maybe 2,000 square feet. I haven't seen that before because I haven't paid attention to it. I was always busy doing my own work. And on my job sites, on every job site, I have a ticker. And, it's basically these. So what I've done, I've taken these, just the number 3. Okay, I've got those 1 through 10 twice. And I've laminated them. And what happens is I put those on the job site. Every day there's a number. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, all the way up till the job's complete. It keeps me accountable. It keeps my contractors accountable. It lets the lenders know what's going on. The buyers know what's going on. The tenants, lets everybody knows what's going on. Mm-hmm. And so often you can see that on bigger job sites, but they're not the counting of the days of the project. They're the counting of the days where there hasn't been an accident. And to me, that's an instant negative feeling on a job site. When you walk on 250 days since an accident, that just tells me there's been an accident. Sure. If you told me job site is 250 days and you're already at, finish out, that's amazing. So those are the two big things. I mean, and then the quality. The quality of construction is, there's not direction and supervision on so many of these single family home builders. And that's where, they have the problem. They might build 2 or 3 a year, but you have to be there when your subs are there because they need direction. They do.
I take it that you manage your own developments?
Correct. I manage them, and then I have a superintendent in training right now. So duplicating me is sometimes, that's not to pat myself on the back, but sometimes that's a challenge for the superintendents that I hire because I'm pretty demanding when it comes to the construction side. The sell side, I know my products are going to sell. And they're going to sell pretty quickly, and I do have a system for that. But on the construction side, because that's my roots, I'm a really, I really want things done the way I want them done.
Yes, I can understand many things going on, and I'm just wondering if you have any future ideas or future endeavors that you want to get into in later years.
I do. We're doing quite a few more of these cluster units here in the Kemah area, and we're working on pre-design in Fort Lauderdale and another high-rise development. We're also looking at stuff in Houston. We're going to be doing some acquisition also of office buildings and a lot of training. We're going to do some training and show, kind of give back. It's time to give back and show other people how you can actually get in the business. And if you're willing to work really hard and you're willing to be really honest, those are the main 2 things that Ed taught me. And he luckily for me, I had Edward, because if I wouldn't have, I don't know where I would have been. But the 2 things that he taught me were definitely honesty and work hard. Don't ever stretch the truth. Don't ever try to avoid telling someone something. He had things called red flag reports, which I have today. I still implement that with my staff. And that means that you tell me something that's wrong, and then you don't have to deal with it anymore. I know about it. It's my problem. And so often you can, if people are scared to tell you of an issue in a bigger corporate environment, you could be the one that it ends up on your plate and something could happen to you. So that's kind of what we're planning on doing.
Well, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us on the program today. We had a great conversation, and I really wish you well in the future. Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you so much.
And that's our program for today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Andy Zajac. See you next time.